All right, good morning, guys. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. Just going to get right into it today, point out what I'm seeing, all right? So, on triple Qs, a couple things. There's a couple things that were going on this morning that I feel like gives us a read into what the market is doing right now. So, we'll start off with the Nasdaq futures, actually. The Nasdaq futures, when I go down to the shorter time frame, an hourly chart, couple things. This morning I had a trend line. I've gotten rid of it since, but I had a trend line kind of marked out like about there, like that. And the futures were basically looking to open the day right in here. All right, so I figured, okay, we have support. We've fallen down to support. We'll probably get a bounce here. So in the pre-market, I put out a message to the private member group thinking, okay, guys, I was going to look for a small bounce. I tried to trade it to the long side with a kind of smaller active trade, but that wasn't successful. And so got stopped out on that one as we just basically broke right through there. So that was one, that's just impulsive selling. Now, as you zoom out, you can see, and so at this point, this trend line is no longer valid to me, but at this point, you can zoom out more on the larger time frame, especially the hourly, and you can see support, and zooming in, breaking right through there. So again, I tried another long trade right here as we were hitting support, thinking we'd probably get a bounce there. No bounce at all, just broke right through. Okay, so the point that I trying to call out is not the fact that I had two losing long side trades. Again, that's active trading. I've maintained my short positions, continued to look for areas to add, but I have a decent sized swing short position on. So the active trades, although give up a little profit on those that weren't successful, the swing shorts are still cashing decently. So bigger picture, though, that I want to point out is when you crash right through support levels, especially, you don't even get a reaction, and that's pretty much what we had on these futures, just breaking right down through these support levels. That's a tell, basically. That's typically pretty bearish, and that just continues to firm up the case that I think we're heading a lot lower. So going over to triple Qs now. Okay, so triple Qs, looking at the hourly chart, a couple things very consistent with the Nasdaq futures. This is the hourly chart support. We had support right here, and again, just breaking right through that level this morning. Gap down and then just broke right through it. So that is that level was about 268.75. That was a level of support, and we just basically broke right through it. So okay, that's something to take note of. Now, we are coming to this gap area. This is the pre-COVID, or not pre-COVID. This is the area where we kind of gapped up from, I believe, on the CPI report. And we are coming to that gap fill right now at about 264.33. So maybe the buyers will step in here. Again, just in general, breaking through some of these support levels is a pretty bearish sign. So that's what I got on the shorter time frame. Yeah, maybe the buyers step in on the hourly, but on the daily chart, which is the larger time frame, and much more important, at least for swing positions, on the daily chart, you can see we've got a potential bear flag right here. So you got the flagpole, you flagged out for a couple days, and we are continuing to break down. So that looks pretty bearish unless the buyers step in sometime today and foil this breakdown and they rally this thing back up. Then it does look to me as of right now that we're going to continue to break down. All right, and so that's what I've got on the daily chart on triple Qs. Also here on the daily, you'll see the trend line. All right, this is coming off the October 13th lows. You can see support. All right, so not sure what's going on there. Support. Hit it for a couple days, held that support. Today, sell signal and breaking down. So as long as the day progresses and you get a daily close down here, with a nice impulsive sell-off, and that is pretty impulsive today, then that's a sell signal. And I believe that's going to be it for the market. I believe that's going to set us up for impulsive selling down to our near-term final target of about 240, 238-ish. As I roll out, again, I've talked about that level for a while, and it is right here, pre-COVID highs. All right, so there it is. It's sitting there, and I could see us just having, you know, relatively swift move straight down. From where we're at now, that is a move of about, let's see if I can grab it on my chart, of about 10% more to go downside. So yeah, I mean, we're down 3% today with another 10% to go until we hit that target. So yeah, that's the way I'm leaning right now. Nvidia, you'll see here, Nvidia, this is another one that I've been short on my swing short position. And, you know, again, you have this daily uptrend line. You've got negative divergence right here. Everything was telling you, okay, probably going to get a breakdown and a continuation to the downside. Got the sell signal a couple days ago. Rallied the last 2 days. Today, just boom, impulsive selling down to 8%. So, yeah, this one looks like it's got a lot farther to go. And next support level is really, you know, there's some support, decent support right here at about 128, somewhere right in there. We've already visited that level and we undercut it once. We've already been down there. So I think if we get back down there, probably get an initial bounce, but then ultimately I think we're going to break that and head a lot lower. All right, so my target on this one, my near-term target is this trend line right here. All right, that red trend line, and that puts us down around the $75 area. It's about a 50% drop from where we're at now. So a lot of downside in that one, I believe. Tesla, no, there was no trade here. I did point out the potential of a bounce trade yesterday, I believe, but we never got the buy signal, so it was never a position for me. All right, we were below this trend line here. All right, I pointed that out as support, but you can see, you know, I was looking for that break, impulsive break back above the trend line to signal a false breakdown. That never came, so never a reason to go long on this. And it's now crashing. It looks like Tesla's really just crashing. It's in full-on just plunge mode. So this one could go. There could be a lot of downside on this one. There is some support way down. Really, I can't even mark out all the levels. There's probably a level here at about 91.22. You can see a little bit of all the reactions as I zoom in come from that ramp up back in 2020 and 2021. So I suspect if it's going to crash, it's going to wipe out a lot of these gains that saw. So, yeah, lots of downside there, I believe. S&P 500, again, on the daily, and I've talked, you know, whether I talk about short time frame bounces, things like that, I've maintained my bearish posture over the long term, and I've continued to state that we're in a bear market. That's the major trend. So until we see a change there, we got to go with the major trend. And here is that major trend on the daily chart. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. And recently we've just hit it again and we're just getting rejected. So, you know, with that rejection off that major trend line, I suspect new lows are in the cards, all right, which puts us down below this 348.66. Now, probably get a little bounce maybe here at 362.51. But yeah, new lows is what I would be looking for. Really down here around 338. That's kind of your pre-COVID highs right there. So I would think that's where we're heading. All right, to make slightly new lower lows and continue that downtrend. Okay, SOXX. This is the semiconductors. Talked about this one pretty extensively last week. Again, daily chart, major resistance is this trend line, all right? Got that marked out. Now, we traded above the trend line over the last few weeks, basically, but that came with negative divergence on the daily chart. So I said there's a very high probability that this is going to be a false breakout bull trap. And you can see, as I zoom in, you can see what's going on. We broke down, kind of recovered it today, gapping down and just, you know, selling straight down. So bull trap in full effect, which tells me that this one is heading all the way down here. You know, if I could probably mark this out, some sort of a trend line like this, but I suspect we're heading down here to about 271-ish, somewhere right in there. That's your pre-COVID highs right there, all right? So that would be my target on the semiconductors. Good support down there around 271. So a lot of downside on that one. I think semis are probably my favorite short area. There's about 20% downside on that one. So that's what I got there. You know, gold, I'm kind of scanning through it. I don't see much in gold that I'm really interested in as of right now. So, you know, I think gold probably is going to pull back. If the market's going to continue to sell off, we're probably going to get a pullback in gold. I just don't see anything that tells me to take a position on any one of these things right now. So not really interested in that. We'll move on. I mean, I think that gold's still by the dip, but I think there's going to be a dip. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Boeing, I think Boeing still looks like a decent short setup, not actionable yet, but Boeing's very similar looking chart to the semiconductors. On Boeing daily chart here, you'll see big downtrend. Really started back in 2019. All right, clean downtrend. Now we're above trend right now. We're just kind of barely trading above there. And as you zero in on this price action recently, negative divergence on the daily chart. Guys, if you're interested in learning this as a skill set, I'm not promising to teach you how to be an amazing trader, but what I am, what I am giving is in my course is learning how to read the charts, learning how to look for technical setups, learning how to find high probability trade setups by what the charts are telling you. That's the best I can do for you in my course, is just giving you guys an idea of what to look for in the charts, break it out into individual concepts, give you guys a checklist to check off things. Not going to give you guys promises of making millions of dollars being like a day trader or anything like that. So if you're interested in learning an actual skill set, learning some chart, some chart skills, becoming a technician a little bit in the charting area, check out my course, link in the description below. Boeing, guys, negative divergence above trend, but again, with this divergence in play, I think we're going to fail here and break down. What I would probably do is I'd go to the hourly, and you can see there's this little trend line they've been kind of walking up, and I suspect you take that trend line out just to give it the benefit of the doubt. You start coming down. I would want to wait for the break of this trend line. You take that out, that's probably going to signal that false breakout bull trap, and that's basically going to be pretty bearish, and I think we'll have a pretty swift move down to 172.50. You can see that's kind of a former area of resistance. It was support, so I think you hit that, probably bounce, and then ultimately break and just make, continue lower, maybe revisiting these lows down here at 120.75. So something to look for on that one. All right, and First Solar, First Solar, if I kind of I still, I'm pretty confident on this one that we are going to head down to the 78 range to fill the gap. It's kind of showing kind of relative strength. Here on the hourly chart, you can see a couple patterns that I'm really trading against on this one. You've got this big old wedge that was created. All right, we broke the wedge, broke down, bounced, and just consolidating right here. So I think my next sell signal on this one is 155.08. All right, a break of that, nice impulsive breakdown of that should set this up for a continuation down to our longer term targets. All right, we have some support levels along the way. I think the next, viable one looks really about 127.40, 127.50. But ultimately, I am looking for a move down to fill this gap. It's going to take some time though, so we have to give this one some room. But in general, I still like it on the short side. And I pointed out this trade idea, VRTX, still looks good for a short trade. Not selling off that impulsively today, but doesn't mean it's not going to continue in the future. On the daily chart, big bearish rising wedge, nice clean negative divergence, very, very clean setup for sure. Big breakdown candle, gap down, and impulsive selling, sell signal candle. So again, I think over the next couple weeks, months, basically, you'll come back and see this. This was the sell signal, obvious sell signal, as this continues to work its way down. My target on this one really would be this trend line. All right, if I roll out, you can see it's a pretty decent trend line. You've got support. This is a daily chart. Nice, well, long established trend line. Support right through here, and so I would say somewhere right in here at about 240. It really depends on when you get there, of course, but it would be that trend line would be my target. All right, so you start getting down in that area, that would be my area that I'd want to cover a short trade. All right, and from where we're at now, that's a continuation of about 17%, 15%, depends on when you get down to that trend line. Guys, that's all I have. So if you're interested in joining the course or taking the course, link in the description below. If you're interested in joining the private member group, I don't get all the trades right in there, but I had 2 losing bounce trades today. But in general, I hope I'm adding value, giving you guys some additional trade ideas. Not all, they're not all going to work. That's just 100% guaranteed that not all my trades will work. Link in the description for that private member group as well. So that's all I have. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.